Let's get right to it because more emotional testimony at the trial of Derek Chauvin in Minnesota. This off-duty Minneapolis firefighter and paramedic got choked up as she recalled how she begged to help George Floyd when she believed he was dying on the street. Take a look.
There was no medical assistance on scene, and I got there and I could have given medical assistance. That's exactly what I should have done. I also offered, in my memory, I offered to walk them through it, or told them, if he doesn't have a pulse, you need to start compressions, and that wasn't done either.
Things got heated between she and Derek Chauvin's defense attorney. That led the judge to step in. Take a look.
And would you describe other people's demeanors as upset or angry?
I don't know if you've seen anybody be killed, but it's upsetting.
You will not argue with the court. You will not argue with counsel.
Mm-hmm.
They have the right to ask questions. Your job is to answer them.
I was finishing my answer.
I will determine when your answer is done.
Okay, well.
And so, do not argue with the court. Do not argue with counsel. Answer the questions. Do not volunteer information that is not requested.
Another witness who testified yesterday was a 9-year-old girl who talked about how she felt witnessing what happened to George Floyd.
I was sad and kind of mad.
And tell us, why were you sad and mad?
Because it felt like he was stopping his breathing, and it's kind of like hurting him.
Wow. All right. So, DBL Nation, we always want to hear from you. What did you think of all this testimony? And Erica, what were your thoughts, A, of the testimony, but also having this 9-year-old girl testify?
Well, the 9-year-old was a witness, and she has her truth, and her truth needs to be heard just like any adult's truth. I think that people make a mistake to think that children don't understand or can articulate what they've experienced. This might have also been very cathartic for her, and I hope that she's getting some therapy. I was really confused about how overzealous the judge seemed to be going after the witness on the stand. And to me, like, it didn't sound like she was, because this isn't the totality of her testimony, it sounded like she was just answering in a question like, I don't know if you've ever seen someone lose their life, but it's very upsetting. I don't understand where all of the extra was coming from.
Yeah, I think the judge just had to take control. I think emotions are very high in this case, and for the next couple weeks it's going to go on. So I think he has to take control of the courtroom right now. But I want to focus more about the 9-year-old little girl. I mean, you mentioned it's cathartic, and I hope it is for her. I'm just worried about the trauma that she witnessed, the trauma of going through all this, because of a lot of things that happen to you later on in life stem back to when you were a child, right? So I hope she's getting the therapy that she needs. I hope she takes this all in stride and it doesn't affect the rest of her life.
Yeah, Tori, you know the legal system more than any of us. What did you make of not only, having the 9-year-old testify, and I agree with Jeff and Erica, but also the reaction of that judge? Was that customary in your opinion?
I think it was the judge showing that he was in control, but I also want to point out how important the crowd's reaction is to this case. So both the defense and the prosecution want to focus on the crowd. Now, one side wants to say they were really upset and worried that someone was going to die, and that was clear. And the other side is saying they were very angry, and because they were angry, police had to take a harder stance. So when she offered a little bit of her own testimony of thoughts, he kind of stepped in. Did I think it was too much? Absolutely. I think he should have backed off. But know that both the prosecution and defense needs that crowd for different reasons, and that's why those witnesses are so important. And may I just say, just like you guys all said, that 9-year-old, we need her. We need her testimony like Ruby Bridges needed to go to school. We need her because if a 9-year-old could see that this man was being hurt, then a police officer should have known as well.
Well said, Tori. And in fact, we're getting comments saying that, testifying is too traumatic for a 9-year-old. Well, I think witnessing a man die is too traumatic for a 9-year-old.
And there are land hearings for that. There's a determination if a child can go before the court or not and advocate for themselves or others.
Well said.
Just so you know.